As we normally do, can you wish somebody next to you a happy Sabbath, please? You know, I'll tell you something. I really love church. I love the church environment. I love coming and seeing different people. I love just enjoying people's presence. I love getting to know them. But I'll tell you, one of my favorite things about church is fellowship dinner. It really is. No, but it's not because of food. It's not because of the food. It's because in fellowship dinner, you actually get to see people in a little bit of a different angle. You know what I'm saying? You know, you see them, you know, you ask, hey, how was your week? They tell you some details. Some of them are more colorful than others. But, you know, me personally, and you're going to think I'm weird, I actually notice a few things in detail. And this is one of the things that personally I find it so beautiful, just because, like, it makes everybody different. But, you know, you see how people interact, for example, when they get their food. You see people interact when they, when they get their meal and everything. But I love it how people interact when there is liquid being poured in their cup. You know, some of them say, hey, you know what? That's good, right? You know, you're pouring the cup, and I don't know. I want you to think about it. How do you react when somebody's pouring, and then, Papi, are you coming up here? Oh. Can you go sit down, Papi, and I'll be right there? Yes. What happened, Papa?
My mom is not allowed to play with me.
Oh, okay. Well, they're gonna come. Go with you, no, Papi. Come on. I'll be right there. I love you, mi amor. And he definitely enjoys church. Like I was saying, how do you react when somebody is pouring liquid into your cup? Some people say, that's good. Some people say, okay. My personal favorite, when people go, you know, when I heard that, I thought, man, that is awesome. It's like when you're just getting in, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if that's an English word. I'm gonna make that my Wi-Fi password. You know? We have come along, and I just love these interactions in general. To be quite honest with you, I never thought that I would be a church pastor. If I thought 16, 17, 20 years ago when I first came to this country, and you know, just kind of listening to the different things and how the pastor, how it should be, you know, I never thought that I would be here today. You know, mind you, just for those of you that have known me, you all know that English is actually my second language. My first language is Spanish, and then my third language I can actually speak is a little bit of Portuguese. But in Spanish, when they teach us certain things, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this or not, but in Spanish, sometimes when they're teaching us English, because they want to make sure that we're speaking the language once we come to this country, right? One of my favorite things, and I thought at the same time was so silly, that they would teach us was tongue twisters. And one of the ones that always stood out to me, let me see, how does this one go? You can help me here. I think it goes like Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Okay? And then you're supposed to say it faster. Peter Piper picked the pepper. See, I can't even say it. And then after that, see, as you grow up, you wonder, why did they make us say those silly things? Why? And then you thought about it, I was like, why would Peter want to pick a pack of pickled peppers? Personally, I think pickled peppers are nasty. I'm sorry. If you guys like them, it's fine. And you start thinking about these things that, you know, hey, maybe they make sense when they are said at the beginning, but then afterwards, Then there's this other tongue twister that I thought was even sillier. and especially it came more alive when I came here to Florida. I think it goes like, she sells seashells. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can say it, because I'm trying to say it, and then all I'm hearing is she sells seashells by the... Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you very much. And as I thought about that, I was like, man, these are things that help us improve our tongue so that it can spread out more. But then I thought about it, and I was like, this is the silliest tongue twister ever. Because if you think about it, if you go to the beach and you actually see somebody selling seashells by the seashore, that is the most horrible business idea ever. I mean, you can go along and you can just say, hey, you know what? I can get seashells for free at the seashore. And then she's selling them? Please. It just does not make any sense. We have come a long way. I've now been here 22 years. And then some of these things that we grew up just hearing and listening, and then all of a sudden you start thinking about it, and now it just kind of doesn't really make sense now, does it? And so there are a lot of things that maybe we've done along the way that don't really make any sense until we think about it. There's a story in Acts chapter 3, if you have your Bibles. And I love this story because it impersonates the people that Jesus had blessed and had walked with him. In Acts chapter 3, we're going to start in verse 1. If you're there, please say, praise the Lord. We're going to read all the way until 10. So it says, I'm reading from the New King James, as usual. And it says, now Peter and John went up together to the temple at the hour of prayer, the 9th hour. And a certain man lame from his mother's womb was carried, whom they laid daily at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, to ask alms from those who entered the temple. Who, seeing Peter and John about to go into the temple, asked for alms. Y'all remember that one? Alms for the poor? And fixing his eyes on him with John, Peter said, look at us. So he gave them his attention, expecting to receive something from them. Then Peter said, silver and gold I do not have, but what I do have I give you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. And he took him by the right hand, lifted him up, and immediately his feet and ankle bones received strength. So he, leaping up, stood and walked and entered the temple with them, walking, leaping, and praising God. And all the people saw him walking and praising God, and then they knew that it was he who sat begging alms at the beautiful gate of the temple, and they were filled with wonder and amazement at what had happened to him. Peter and John, that reminds me of that song. Have you guys heard that song? Peter and John went to pray. Well, we're not going to sing it, but this song in particular, it reminds me of how Jesus, after he ascended to heaven, he left this commission. He said, go and preach. And it is interesting that Peter and John have already preached here. Now they were doing. You know, as we continue in our lives, we see that maybe, especially the temptation for us preachers, is that, hey, you know what? We are preaching a gospel message from up here. And maybe you come to church to say, hey, you know what? We are listening to the gospel message over here in the seat. But where does it really matter? According to this story, they went up to the temple, right? Called Beautiful. And see, this lame man wasn't even allowed to go into the temple. Where does the Bible say that they put him? At the gate of the temple. You are not fit enough to come into the temple. Therefore, you're just going to stay there. Now, hey, what I have, I give you. This is what Peter said. And he said, now you can go ahead, take up your mat, and walk. And they saw him praising the Lord. They saw him praising Jesus. As a result of that, the Pharisees came and arrested them. How does that make sense? They arrested them. They spoke to the people, the priest, the captain of the temple, in verse 4, by the way, in chapter 4. And the Sadducees came upon them, being greatly disturbed that they taught the people and preached in Jesus' resurrection from the dead. And they laid hands on them, put them in custody until the next day, for it was already evening. However, many of those who heard the word believed, and the number of the men came to be about 5,000. And see, this is the part that I personally just find so amazing in general. Because even the Pharisees and the Sadducees who had already met Jesus, they saw in verse 13 something in particular. Verse 13, Acts chapter 4. Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John and perceived that they were uneducated and untrained men, they marveled. And they realized that they had been with Jesus. They realized that they had been with Jesus. Let me ask you a question. Are there any indications in your lives that you have been with Jesus? In our lives, that we had been with Jesus. When people look at you, do they say, wow, that is a good person? Or when people look at you, do they say, wow, this person, it is clear that there is something different about them. This person, it is clear that there is something that he or she has that I possibly could want. If the Pharisees and Sadducees could tell that these two disciples had been with Jesus, I am wondering how the world is looking at every single one of us. Reminds me of a story about a man who was being tailgated by a stressed out woman on a busy boulevard. Suddenly, the light turns yellow just in front of him. He does the honest thing and stops at the crosswalk, even though he could have beaten the red light by accelerating through the intersection. The tailgating woman hits the roof and the horn, screaming in frustration as she misses her chance to get through the intersection with him. So imagine, as she's still in mid-rant, she hears a tap on her window and looks up into the face of a very serious police officer. The officer orders her to exit her car with her hands up, takes her to the police station where she is searched, fingerprinted, photographed, and placed in a cell. And after a couple of hours, a policeman approaches the cell and opens the door. She's escorted to the back, to the booking desk, where the arresting officer is waiting with her personal effects. He says, and get this, I am very sorry for this mistake. You see, I pulled up behind your car while you were blowing your horn, flipping the guy off in front of you, and cussing a blue streak at him. I noticed a few things. I noticed the Choose Life license plate holder, the What Would Jesus Do bumper sticker, the Follow Me to Sabbath School bumper sticker, the chrome-plated Christian fish emblem on the trunk. I am so sorry, man. I assumed your car was stolen. And it reminds me that, man, maybe all we have is stickers. This is all we have. We have the stickers that maybe, hey, you know what? I'm going to check a box over here. I came to church. I'm going to check a box over here. I came to prayer meeting. I'm going to check a box over here. I brought a plate. I'm going to check a box over here. I'm a vegetarian. No, that one you cannot take a box, all right? The point is that we realize that maybe we have these stickers, and inside, we're that lady. We're that lady that is flipping the other person off, that cusses at people, that it's just hitting the roof. And whether we realize it or not, we're impacting people's lives. We're leaving an impression, either negative or positive, carnal or spiritual, worldly or godly. Well, let me ask you this. We are Seventh-day Adventist Christians, right? Be honest with yourselves. Let's see, let's look at it from the outsider perspective. What is a Seventh-day Adventist mainly known for? No. See, you said Sabbath. The outsider would say, no, you go to church on Saturday. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference. And what's let's see how let me test it over here. What's another popular thing that Seventh-day Adventists are known for? I'm sorry? Don't eat pork? Yeah. Those are the things that, that mainly characterize us. Personally, hey, let me tell you something. Personally, I think we can do so much better. Don't you think? I think we can do so much better. I think that when it comes to bringing the true message of Christianity, do people look at us and say, wow, they had been walking with Jesus? Is it possible that maybe these stickers we need to take off? Maybe we don't need to tell everybody what we do. Maybe we don't need to tell everybody where we go. Maybe we don't need to tell everybody what we stand. Maybe they just need to see it. Maybe they just need to see it. And they need to see it because maybe you are that hope that they have been looking for this whole time. And you don't even know that this is happening. You know, when it comes to telling people about Jesus, I think I was talking to somebody that I hold dear in my heart in this church earlier. I think it was Thursday night. We were talking about a certain situation that she was going through. And one of the things that I told her in her situation, well, what should I do, Pastor? And I said, listen, sometimes the gospel that you preach is more with your actions and less with your words. In fact, my favorite quote of all time, St. Francis of Assisi, when he says, preach the gospel at all times, and if necessary, use words. See, I have a rule personally that I do not tell people what I am. I don't tell people what I do for a living. And I get very many surprises when I finally tell them. Because everybody wants to know what you do for a living, right? Out in the soccer field, right? Out in Walmart, when you go to Costco, or when you just interact in general. Oh, so what do you do? Oh, I'm a fireman, or I am a doctor, or I am a teacher. Oh, okay. Oh, what about you? What do you do? I'm a minister. Pastor, I didn't go to church on Sunday. I am a minister. Oh, Pastor, I didn't mean what I said in the bathroom back then, you know. In fact, that actually did happen to me when I was in Alabama. And, I actually befriended a mechanic. And I don't know if you guys know mechanics, but mechanics are actually known for their very colorful language. I remember his name was Keith. And Keith was actually the one that, as I got to know him, he found out that I was a minister. See, I didn't tell him. See, he had been fixing my car now for about a month. He's like, hey, man, so what do you do for a living? Do you run a business? I said, no, I'm actually a pastor. And I can't repeat what he said next, by the way. Let's just say he was shocked. One time, I actually took at that time I was driving a 2006 Honda Civic Si. I love that car, by the way. 6-speed. And by the way, how many of you here can drive stick shift? Raise your hand. All right. All right. How many of you cannot? Raise your hand. All right. And there are the millennials. There we go. So, or Gen Zers. There we go. But anyway, so my key particularly did not work. And those keys, I mean, how much is a key to get a new key for a car right now? Isn't it like $200, $300 because they have a special chip or something? Good grief. $400? What do you drive? Mike? Okay, don't tell me. All right, there we go. But anyways, I remember back in the day when you could actually take a key and just take a duplicate at Ace Hardware, and it was what, like $5, $6, $7, $10 maybe? Now it's like $400. Now I get it why they do that. They don't want to do the anti-theft. They want to do the anti-theft thing and all that kind of stuff. But I remember when I was doing it, I was like, man, this is really expensive. So I talked to my mechanic friend, and I was like, hey, do you know anybody that can maybe, I mean, I'm willing to pay, obviously, but do you think maybe somebody can give me maybe a little bit of a break here? Because I'm trying to I'm not looking for anything fancy, just something that turns my car on. It's like, yeah, no, definitely, I got you. So then we went to his friend, and then his friend had, when we got there, obviously he made the call and everything, and he had to put in the computer, the chip in the computer and all that kind of stuff. And so his friend said, hey, Keith, what is up? I'm just there sitting beside it, and I'm laughing. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because it's like, wow, my goodness. And the first thing that Keith said, because he's now a friend of mine, he's like, hey, you better watch your mouth. You're sitting next to a minister. And he said, that is not true. Not in those words, by the way. And I said, it's like, are you really? It's like, actually, no, yes, I am. Oh, Pastor, I'm sorry, I didn't go to church on Sunday. I am so sorry. I'm going to try to do better. So then after that, I said, hey, man, it's okay. It's like the Lord loves us no matter what we do. We finished the transaction, and then it's fine. This is the part that just killed me, because as we were leaving, he said, all right, Pastor, here's your key. God bless you. See, here's the way that I see it. In a world where Jesus is popular for the wrong reasons, I'd rather preach him more with endeavors than with my mouth. And you don't have to advertise what God had done internally. People should just see it. So instead of being known for going to church on Saturday or not eating pork, how about we're known for being kind, caring, polite, smiling. And then people can see that your energy is filled with Jesus. For having compassion. These are the praying people. These are the ones that love and don't judge. And one of my favorite quotes also, he's actually one of our very own Adventist ministers, Jose Cortez Jr., he says, I envision the day when our church will be known for our compassion and love for humanity and all creation, rather for the things that we oppose. I think we know what we're known for. I think we know what we oppose. But at the end of the day, my friends, we should be known no matter what for walking with Jesus, for walking with Christ. I need to drink this before. For the past 4 years, we've been through a lot, don't you think? And we've been through some tough times. We've been through some good times as well. And personally, my prayer throughout these 4 years is that every single one of you has at least seen that Jesus in me. And if you didn't, I'm sorry. We have been through a lot. But at the same time, you don't understand the amount of effort that we continue to have in order for all of us to continue to be here. I thank every single one of you that has been a part of that. Way too many to mention. But I wanted to personally be that pastor to every single one of you. And if I failed you, I am sorry. And if I did fail you, and you still want to make it right, I'm here. I'm here. Because church is about people. It's about those relationships, and it's about having that relationship with Christ. Amen to that. But my friends, one thing I can definitely leave you with. You know, as much as I love this church, I have to say, please, may people know you because they can see that you had been walking with Jesus. I want to let you know how much I love every single one of you. I love hugging you. I love just interacting with you because that's just how I picture Jesus, how he would be. And my friends, you know, yes, we'll be around. But at the same time, may you never forget that that's the reason why we're here. May people, when they look at you, they can say, you had been walking with Jesus.